Alrighty, from the Brokenspoke Taphouse inside the Amador Live, I'm Ernesto alongside Max, and this is the Mesilla Valley News Sports Podcast brought to you by Ragged Apparel and also by, of course, our friends here at the Brokenspoke Taphouse. Getting ready to bring our first guest on in a bit, but first things first, let's talk about the big game, and we're getting excited. Rams or Bengals? Who do you got on this one, Max?
I think we're going to go with the Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah,
okay.
Close game.
I'm going with the Bengals because of loving the WKRP show. I really don't care for either one of the teams. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, does Matthew Stafford get his first Super Bowl win, or does Joe Burrow prove that he's unstoppable in playoffs, even in the NFL? And he hasn't lost yet in the playoffs.
I like Stafford. I think he's a good QB, and he's gotten the short end of the stick for a while. But I don't like LA. That's the problem.
Well, but it's
so I'm going to go with the Bengals.
It is their home field advantage. I don't care what anyone says. You're going to have a lot of people
even
from
more reason to go for the Bengals.
Yeah, and then you got Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg performing at halftime.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of old people going, "What's this?" Yeah. But you know what? For
That's
people like,
now, though.
You know what? For us, we're all going like, "Let's bring that on." Eminem's out here. We're going to have a great.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great game, but what I think it's going to come down to is the defense. Yep. I would say
always,
Cincinnati's got the advantage, but if they're able to stop Joe Burrow from doing short passes or getting out there and running, and Aaron Donald gets that pressure on him, and he's got 3 or 4 seconds instead of 5 or 6 seconds to make a decision, that will be the difference in the game.
I want to see it won on a punt return or something.
A punt special teams?
Yeah.
Well, we've seen everything else. I have a feeling it will be a close game, but don't be surprised if it's a low-scoring one. I wouldn't be surprised.
Something weird like what was that one game years ago? It was the Titans and where he laterally passed it, and that was to get into the Super Bowl.
It was the Music City Miracle.
The Music City Miracle.
Yeah. You could see something like that happening. Of course, then they went to the Super Bowl, and then the American underdog over there, Kurt Warner, has the win. But talk about a game of inches.
Yeah, that would be cool if it was something crazy like that.
It could be crazy. Let's get to the main sports headlines.
Yep.
We've got the NMSU women's team a winner, 59-54 this afternoon over Seattle U. Congratulations to head coach Brooke Atkinson and her squad. The NMSU Aggies getting ready for their next matchup, and of course, you can watch Aggie home games here too, can't you?
Yep. Yeah, we got the home games on right now with the restrictions going on in Pan Am. Hopefully they won't last too much longer, but
hopefully they won't. I hear a lot of changes coming, and we'll keep you posted on that. Another big thing, Winter Olympics. It's China's partying. They'll spy if they want to, and the U.S. has 0 gold right now.
Yeah.
Should we be concerned, Max?
It's early. Hopefully they'll pick a few off. Maybe they're just gonna hit their stride late, but it's kind of a weird setup. It's spread out and so much different than in the past. No Olympic Village, no nothing.
Yeah, no, and athletes are very much in a very tight place. That's kind of scary, I hear. So they basically are in their own confinement, which was like the pandemic. So I guess we're somewhat prepared for that now. So
yeah.
All right. We'll talk more about that too if you want to talk about the Olympics. But what we want to hear from you folks right now is who's going to win.
Who's that? Woohoo! There you go.
Yeah, there you
Randy.
go. Yeah, even Irene is ready to say hi to Randy here today, so she'll talk to him. So we want to know, Rams or Bengals? Who do you got? Just go to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere. Put your comment in. Let us know who you think is going to win the big game. Right now, I have met a couple of ladies here that are for the Rams. So there you go. They've got their team ready to go. So at least it's not the Niners, because that would have been horrible. Then we never would have heard the end of it. So, so I'd rather take this I'd rather have 2 teams that are not there. And no Brady. But the bad news is no Giselle either. So, I mean, there's a disappointment.
Yeah, I guess he's had enough,
Yeah. Well, speaking of having enough, fellas, you're going to be beaten enough if you do not get Valentine's Day taken care of. Don't worry. One simple phone call to the Amateur Live makes the difference, doesn't it?
That's right. We got 3 nights of Cupid's dinner date here starting Thursday night. And so the 10th, 11th, and 12th, we have it's set up with a paired menu next door at the Amador. And we have live entertainment all 3 nights. We have Daniel Villasenor, the Mohawk piano player.
There you go.
We have Brothers Inc., which is like a trio harmony set. They always do a really good job here. And then, of course, we have Josh Lucero, who's about 18 by now, 18, maybe 19. And not only does he look like Frank Sinatra when he was little, but
he sings like Frank Sinatra. And then we've seen him perform a couple times here at the Amador.
Yeah.
And ladies are throwing things up there that his mom is not happy with. So please keep it in. Oh, see, you're making the ladies laugh over there.
Yeah.
I'm not joking on that either, though. I've seen that. I'm like, his mom was like, oh boy.
But we got the 3 dinner date nights. That's going to be a lot of fun. The other thing that we're doing is if you strike out and don't get a date, or you don't want to have a date, it's okay. We got
I think Randy's all for that one.
Yeah, we got Cupid's singles rager going on at Jack's on Friday and Saturday night with Neil, Kid, and Robbie. So that's going to be fun. And then we are opening 575 on Saturday the 12th.
And what time is that going to open at? So people
it
know?
opens at 8, and that's it's a $10 cover to get in there. It's a ticketed event for Astronomar, the DJ, pretty big regional name. There's going to be some other guys up there with him. All new sound and lights in there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we have not had that place open in 2 years. Can you
I know. COVID. Hey, I haven't flown in 2 years, and I'm about ready to take a flight in a few weeks. So.
We did open on New Year's Eve, and everyone really got a big kick out of that. But it was fun.
All right. We're looking forward to this. You can get your tickets by calling the Amador Live. Now, we also want to talk about the new menu items and new hours. Yeah. I tell you what, we're open. There's a lot more sun.
Yes,
a lot of people even eating outside today, too.
Yeah,
so
we
that's
got them
great.
outside finally. And Amador next door is open Tuesday through Saturday at 11. And we got full lunch hours going, all new menu. And then we, of course, have our $20 happy hour every day. And you can eat that on either side. And $20, you get a shareable appetizer and 2 cocktails.
What else do you need? With everything that's gone up, you're not going to find
6, by the way.
You're not going to get a better price than right now. So you have time this afternoon. If you get in at 5:50, does that count?
Sure.
Okay, there you go.
We'll make it work.
Because there's some people driving right now going like, what? He said what?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
$20? I got
20.
that.
I got that right now. I haven't tried your Cubano yet. How's that one?
It's good. That one is something that Chef Enrique came up with. I keep eating it a lot. That one and the shrimp scampi, the red chili shrimp scampi, I always end up hitting that one. And they're always coming up with crazy stuff. I was in the back a minute ago, and Chef almost killed me with a bottle with a cup of Caldillo. It's just fantastic, super spicy Caldillo. So if you're stuffed up, come on down. Just a cup of this stuff will clean you up.
And by the way, if you haven't tried the grilled salmon salad, I strongly recommend that as well. The hours again, so people know.
So the Spoke were 4 to 10 or 11, depending on the night, and then of course later on the weekends. And Amador, it's 11 a.m. till 10, and then of course midnight on the weekends. So plenty of time.
Plenty of time. So we got your Valentine's Day covered, fellas. We got you here taken care of. And now let's talk about St. Patty's Day. We got some big things coming.
We got some pent up stuff going on. We've been planning for this one for a couple years, and I've been working with Adams on it for quite a while.
Yep.
So we're going to be having some pretty interesting T-shirts where we just keep crossing out the year and adding the next year.
Yeah, I know. We've added that a couple of times. Those T-shirts are what, 2020, right?
We've got 2020 T-shirts that are X'd out with 22. So
22,
that's
yeah.
going to be fun. I guess the big news on that one is we're going to have Leprechaun Midget Wrestling, and that starts at 7 o'clock.
So we're seriously going to have little people wrestling out here.
Yeah. There's like 15 of them coming. They're gonna kick
boys
ass.
and girls.
Everybody. Yeah.
Oh wow,
yeah,
my
they're
God.
all coming. They're coming from all over the country. It's a full setup with a ring and sound and lights. And DJ Mike G and Baez will be on the main stage working that.
She doesn't believe you over here. This young lady. Yeah.
It's actually, I saw the ring. It's pretty good, and I mean they're gonna fly through the air and everything. So it's a $15 cover, and that gets you into the whole property. It's all going to be open. We're going to have a Irish themed menu. We're going to have specialty drinks. We're going to have the green beer. We're going to be participating in the pub crawl up and down downtown with Little Toad and with the Boneyard and a couple of the other places. I think Zaffaro's is getting in on it. The cover starts at 4 o'clock. So we'll be open for lunch and stuff too.
So basically, downtown is a place to be.
It's gonna be rocking. Yeah,
on
there's
St. Patty's.
Thousands of people down here, and it's about time because it's been a while.
It's been.
And we'll have the DJs hitting it on the stage, and then we have the after party upstairs at Jack's with Robbie and Neo. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Get your tickets. It's real simple. How do you get them?
Those, it's just call 541-7417 for if you want to reserve the tables. But otherwise, you can just pay cover at the door. It's just $15 at the door.
There you go. It's just that simple.
I think we're gonna do a VIP add-on for the tickets, so you can hang out backstage with the wrestlers and do like a meet and greet and photos. And
there you go. Maybe I'll bring our guest Randy to come help you out there too.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. There'll be a lot going on. So,
all right. So once again, for fellas on Valentine's Day, so they don't mess this up, where do they call? How much are they looking at again? So they're set up for Valentine's.
575-541-7417. If no one picks up, just leave a message. We will call you back. But please call soon because it is starting to fill up. We have a lot of space, obviously, and if you happen to walk in or don't worry about it. You might just have to hang in the bar for a few minutes, but we'll get you set.
It's that simple. Let's get back to normal. Let's have some more fun. Max, I'm glad you're getting hours extra, and we'll be in with you down the road, man. Good to see you. Okay. I'll see you next week. So, all right, we're going to bring in our first guest here today at the Brokenspoke Taphouse. Once again, Bengals or Rams? We already got 2 Rams. We got 1 Bengals for sure. And we'll get some more here in a second, and I'll get that here. But we're going to welcome our guest, who we like to call, who has labeled himself this name here. He's going to show off his shirt, but I wanted people to see this one right here. There it is. Wreck-It Randy himself, Randy McCarty. Known this guy for a while. We've seen him come into our station a couple times. We talked to him about events that we've had going on, and this was back in 2019. And then all of a sudden, everything changed in 2019, didn't it, Randy?
Yeah.
And the world certainly was different for you. But Randy McCarty joining us. Great to see you, my man. How's MMA going for you?
MMA's been going really slow. Thank you. That really slow for the MMA side of it. Unfortunately, so I finally get my first fight since COVID started in MMA, and I've had 6 boxing matches during COVID time, 5 of which have been in Mexico. But I'm just trying to find fights where I can find fights, and this is my first MMA fight back, so I'm excited about it. In March 19th.
Now, the first question we get from all the time is, are you local? Are you from here? You want to speak your background where you're from?
I grew up in New Mexico. I was born in Arizona and then moved to New Mexico when I was a baby. And I've been in Playas, New Mexico when I grew up. And I've been here for 13, almost 14 years in Cruces. So
this is home. New Mexico's home. Yeah.
Yeah. I own a house, everything here. So I'm here.
So you love representing Las Cruces, love going through
Yes.
that part. You mentioned you got 6 MMA fights on your belt so far. You were doing boxing before. Is that what you did?
No, I did 6 boxing matches during
During the pandemic.
COVID,
Okay.
yeah.
How many MMA fights have you had total?
24,
24. What's your record overall?
13 and 11.
13 and 11. All right. Very simple, hard. It can go either
Yeah.
way sometimes. But you started off as a boxer?
No, I started off MMA and then I went pro boxing afterwards just to have fun, keep myself busy. I try to. My goal is to hit 12 fights in each year. So I want to do 1 fight a month, and you can't really do that MMA wise and stay healthy. It's pretty a rough sport. Like I've had my nose split sideways where I had a cross for a nose.
Oh.
And I've had cut eyes, cut mouth, and so banged up legs. So you can't really fight that many times. The most I've gotten so far is 10 fights in 1 year, but my goal is 12 every year. So
Okay. Now, what do you do? Now, I always say this. You started off, you're training, obviously. Now, some are dedicated full 24 hours a day to this job. Is this a full 24-hour day job for you?
no, this is my fun time.
This
fun.
is your fun. The
Yeah.
MMA is your fun time.
Yeah.
So what do you do during the day?
So I work for White Sands Missile Range. I work for SRS. It's a contract company for the military, and I test equipment.
So then you work somewhat of an 8 to 5 job then, right?
Yeah.
And then when it's time afterwards, it's hit to the gym. Is it go out and
Yep.
work out?
Well, right now what I'm doing is I get up at 4 or 3:30, get to the gym by 4, work out till it's time to go to work. Then I go to work. Then after work, I get off and go to the gym. Right now I'm not skipping gym. I'm just making it go later.
Yeah, but his
So-
is also with the other part of the businesses for
Yeah.
you as MMA fighter. Not only is it working out, but you also have to work on promotion. If
Absolutely.
anything I learned from my good friend Austin Trout, our good
Mhm.
friend Austin Trout, is that a lot of the business is training and everything such, but you're also having to do your own promotion, working your own thing.
Yeah.
You could hire people to do that, and that's fine, but it's almost, you always want your brand to be represented by you, so you're better off doing it yourself.
To a point, and the hard part about when you hire somebody is, one, you don't, until you go through the problems and learn it, you really don't know what you're getting. And then 2, it's not yours. Like it's not theirs. I mean, it's yours. So you need to make sure it's right for you and you're promoting yourself how you should be.
Well, I tell you what, my good friend, Master Sensei Eli Guzman, it tells me a lot that to go through this and to get the experience, you do a lot of things. You sacrifice a lot.
Yeah.
You've given up probably a lot of things that you didn't realize. But obviously the job helps pay for everything. But obviously, this is the passion. This is the love. When you make that decision to get that passion stronger, that becomes a little bit challenging, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How is it? Because of the balance, or what's the problem there?
The balance, the fact that like my life, people go, well, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm got done with work and I'm working out. That's what I do 6 out of the 7 days of my life, is I train and I go to work. So that's it. Like and I travel a lot because I got to go to other places to spar guys my level or higher level so they can kick my butt so I can get better for the fight.
I hear MMA fighters when it comes to it. I look back at some of the footage from fighting in 2000, how everything was exploding. Then the pandemic comes, and then Dana White's building an island where fighting is going in, and you're trying to be one of those select elite ones. And then it also became you had to go somewhere else just to keep going. And in a way, we kind of lost touch over here. And in a way, MMA down a bit, but now things have started to pick up with the pandemic somewhat, being in check. And then when we started to see fights again in Vegas, it was great. And when Trump's going to fights and everyone else is going to fight, Megan Fox is going to fights, with Justin Bieber sitting next to, it all goes that way. So it feels like the sport's starting to rebuild back up again.
I hope so.
But that lag really hurt a lot of fighters, and I'm sure it was no different for you.
Yeah. So my average fights before the pandemic is 7 to 8 fights a year. And in the last 2 years, I've had 6 fights. So it dropped it by half on my normal production. The other thing is like it killed the small productions, and that's what we need for people to get better. They need to have amateur fights. We need to have low level pro fighters, because like if I go get the privilege to spar with Cowboy Cerrone, he's going to destroy me, and I shouldn't just go straight to the UFC and fight guys like that. I need to have guys at my level so we can build ourselves up.
Well, what level are you in right now?
I'm pro, but I wouldn't be able to answer what I'm in. It's
what weight division, what class?
Oh, I'm 205 is what I normally fight at. This fight is going to be a catch weight at 195. So the guy that I'm fighting, Josh Watson, I think is his name. He's normally fights at 185, 170, and so they wanted to get him a fight. He's local from there, and I said I can't make 185. So they said, how about 195? I was like,
we're going to talk about that fight in a little bit. I want to get to that, and I want you to tell me more about your opponent here. I want to go back a little bit because, like I said, I was looking at how MMA fighters were dealing through this, and like I said, I read some stories where it was like, a lot of them went to other places, like where Dana White was, and then suddenly you're training in the Middle East, you're training in Asia, you're going to all these other places where it's allowed, because that would be the part to go through. And of course, obviously, there had to be some concerns. You just had to go down the road here to Mexico. Is that correct?
For 4 fights, I had to go to Mexico, right? But for training, like all the gyms that I know of, they were closed, but they weren't closed. You just you had to know the people, and you show up there, everything looks closed. You don't park in front of the gym, you park somewhere else. You go in there and you spar, you train, you get yourself ready. They just had to officially be closed.
Well, I was doing my own workouts, just running around the area, but sometimes that's what you need to do, and you'd be surprised. Of course, looking back at those days, I was like, that exercise routine really made a difference. So I'm going to assume that you bulked up more. Did you lose more weight? What was?
I'm heavier than I used to be. I used to be walking around like 215, and I would get ready for fights. I just had to cut 10 pounds. Right now, I'm cutting a lot. So. Oh my God!
And so you're going to and this is all for an upcoming fight.
Yes.
So you had to go fight in Mexico. Where did you fight?
Twice in Chihuahua City, twice in Juarez, and then in Agua Prieta.
A good friend of mine, Austin Trout, and another good friend of mine, Brian Cox, told me that sometimes it was scary to go down to fight when he was going down there. This is even before the pandemic, because there's a lot of different rules in Mexico that are not associated with the rules that you see here. Of course,
what we consider normal.
Yeah, what we consider normal rules, or somewhat to be fair, it's a little bit different there. Were you a little nervous being fighting down there?
The only time I really got nervous is whenever I rode with a group of other fighters. And like some of them were from Pittsburgh, and they weren't acting like what I was normally act like in Juarez or whatever. They were acting wild, and I was like, dude, like you gotta stop this. Oh, we're fine. They don't know where we're from. They'll kill you, And I did not like riding with them. So after that, anytime I go down there, I find my own rides. I don't go with a carpool type thing. I don't like that.
Scary in that sense. My God. So you go to fighters. I'm going to guess out of your 6 fights, how much time did you have to prepare, or did you even study some of these opponents, or was it half the time, this is the guy, here's who you're going against, and you don't know anything about him?
Right. I knew his name before I fought him. That was it. And
how many hours before that? 48 hours, 72 hours?
No, I normally at least a week. I knew
a week. Okay, so you had a week.
But that doesn't mean like most of them didn't have videos out or anything like that. So you just go in there and fight.
You mean they don't have their own social media platform putting it? And it's like, okay, hit the translate button from Spanish to English here. What's he saying?
Yeah. So, I mean, and this last one, the guy that I thought I was going to fight didn't show up, and they got me, and they had another opponent, and I learned him the day of the fight. I shook his hand. We went in the ring, boxed, second round, I TKO'd him. So
wow.
This is how it went.
Still a little scary when you don't have that much preparation.
No, yeah.
So you've been fighting in Mexico, 6 fights there. What was your record in Mexico?
I won all of them.
All 6-0. Yeah. So that really helped you get the record going again.
Yeah.
What do you learn? I've always said this about MMA fighters. I feel it's like there's some, I wish there was some analytics that would show this, and I'm sure there is. We see the records and everyone thinks unless they've lost 1 or 2 fights, this is not like boxing. It's a little different with MMA. More losses actually can mean a little more experience, and then you get better, and then suddenly streaks come along. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, and you got to look at who you're fighting too. There's a lot of guys in boxing that have amazing records, but then you start looking at who they fought, and the guys like 2-22 and 7-18. You know, it's like they're fighting bums, and the guys that I've lost to are from high level camps. You know, big names and tough
Like,
guys.
what are some of the names of those camps?
Well, like Jackson's Winks. I've fought some of those guys. One of their coaches, I actually fought him, Clint, and he's a tough dude. And me and him fought hard, cut my face up. I had like 18 stitches from him. And I didn't win the fight. You know, I fought Frank Lester, his first fight outside of the UFC. And so I fought tough guys and guys that were almost right at the edge of going to the UFC or going to Bellator. And I was their fight right before that. So, you know, you go in there and you look at who the person's fought, what they've done since. During the pandemic and everything, I've actually gotten my black belt in jiu-jitsu. I've gotten better in my ground game. So my coach at Briggs MMA, they've set me up to be a huge success. Now all I got to do is be able to get.
Who is your coach there?
Jesse Briggs. He's a 3-stripe black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I train with him, and he's helped me get way better. You're
coming up to a fight here. Is this going to be here in the U.S. side, or you have to go back?
Yeah, it'll be Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. So the first time back home, getting a fight in how many years? 2 years?
2 years. 2 years without MMA.
2 and 5 MMA. I'm going to get you sometime so you can look up your opponent here. Once again, Bengals or Rams? Tell us who you think is going to win. More people are starting to come in, and I think we still got more Rams fans than Bengals fans right now. So
the bad part for me is since I've been training for fighting I've been a pro for almost 9 years, and I've been doing MMA for 11, 12 years. I haven't watched football.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not asking you to pick. But
I don't
have
like
these ladies here that have already picked for you, so just go with what the ladies say, okay?
Yeah, I don't like the I've never liked the Bengals at all. I don't like the Rams either.
Let me give you that piece of advice that came from White Men Can't Jump. Listen to the woman. All right, there you go. All right, if you want a happy life. All right, so who's your fight? When's it coming up against? And where do we get tickets? Or am I going to be able to watch this on some type of streaming service? Because if I have to buy another streaming service again, I'm going to be in really mad trouble here. It better be on ESPN Plus. That's all I got to say.
So it's going to be in Colorado Springs on March 19th. I'm fighting against Josh Watson, and it's called Battle Mixed Martial Arts Championship. And I asked them if they're going to have it streaming or anything, and right now they're not. So my cousin plans on going to the fight, so she's going to use my phone and live stream it on my Facebook.
All right, Ken. Now make sure we get a copy of that so I can put that up there as well, and we'll show that as well too to get there. So who are you fighting again? This is
Josh Watson.
Josh Watson. What's his record?
He's 5-6-1.
And so he's about 195, and you're 205.
No. So he normally fights at between 170 and 185. So he probably walks around like 200. And I'm walking around like 230, 235. So then I cut down to 195. He just floats and cuts a little bit of weight, and then I gain weight back up and fight him.
The good news, a win leads to bigger promotions and then probably a quicker fight. Are you ready for a turnaround like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so there's fights coming up again in Juarez in the next month after that. So
you will be a part of that.
Yeah, I'm planning. I already talked to him. I don't have that answer yet, but I asked him for it, and he says if I can find you somebody to fight, we'll get you in here. So I'll be fighting in Juarez again the next month, hopefully.
If everything goes right, you get some more wins. Is there a chance to go to Arizona, Vegas, possibly start picking up?
Yeah, I've never got to fight in Vegas. I fought in Arizona tons of times. I like fighting for Ruff or for Rage in the Cage. Both of those are Arizona-based companies. There's a new company that's coming out that'll be doing it here in Cruces. Budas is one of the managers of it or owners of it, and I'm excited to be able to fight for them again. They used to do the Southwest Brawl, but they changed it now. So it's a new company, so I'm excited to be able to hopefully represent them in that aspect too.
Well, before I let you go, I know that you do some crazy dances. I know you're somewhat of a crazy. You still have that craziness, or did the pandemic kind of humble you a little bit now? You're still that crazy?
Yeah.
What's the crazy things that you do again? Just so I know, I have one person who will tell me every crazy thing you've done, and I've had another couple of people that tell me that, and they say, "Wreck-It, you should say crazy." Randy here. What crazy?
Nobody's ever told me that or proven that I'm crazy.
You have crazy come out music, theme music, right? Am I correct on that?
Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby.
He comes out to Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah.
You really come out to Ice Ice Baby
every time.
Oh my God.
And then I do an old school dance, and then I do the worm at the end of it.
You do an old school. What old school dance do you do?
It's just stuff I picked up from when I was.
Is it a Roger Rabbit?
Well, there's the Running Man's in it.
Oh, it's the Running Man. Yeah,
all those things.
Yeah, stuff I can't do anymore. That I don't do anymore. Randy, this has been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you. Let's keep me up to date on these fights. We'll keep keeping track of you. And of course, Mesilla Valley News Sports would like to keep you updated as well. But hopefully MMA career goes well, and then let's see where things pick up from there, right?
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Wreck It Randy. There it is. You want the shirts?
Yeah.
What does it say in the back here?
It has all my sponsors on the back.
There you
All my
go.
sponsors, and then in the front,
Thanks,
it has
Coach
my
Briggs. Briggs MMA. There you go. Check them out. The fight date again?
name. March 19th.
March 19th. If you can make it out to Colorado Springs, and then the fights in Mexico and Juarez.
The next month.
The next month, sometime in March, April. So make sure we'll have you on back again and keep you going. Randy McCarty joining us. He's the MMA fighter, and this is going to wrap it up for our Mesilla Valley News Sports Podcast. We'll talk with you again next week here from the Brokenspoke, and then after that, I'll be off for a week, and then we'll come back for then and talk March Madness and see where the Aggies are as well. For Mesilla Valley News Sports, I'm Ernesto Garcia. Have a good